What's going on, boxing fans? Joanne Williams here at the Distance. Got a video for you guys tonight. This one, I'm just talking about a couple things that boxing is missing right now. And this is just a pure onslaught perspective, insight type video. And I know a lot of people are gonna disagree with me on this video, but I don't care. But anyway, let's let's get into the video. Don't have much time. Got a very busy schedule, so. Anyway, let's just get into the video. I'm just gonna talk just one time and do the video one time through. And this is just my commentary video for the week, other than my other video I'm gonna post as well, which is like 17 minutes long. But anyway, let's get into it. One thing about I feel that boxing is missing is that that decorated prospective fighter that's coming up. Boxing over the past, if you look at certain cash cows, man, boxing has had some cash cows in the past that people have watched come up from, the amateur ranks all the way to the professionals. And people would, look and be excited about these fighters coming up. One of them being Sugar Ray Leonard. Sugar Ray Leonard was a fighter that a lot of older people who don't even watch boxing now, actually bring up when they talk about boxing. I had a professor recently, when I mentioned to him, that I watched boxing and boxing was one of my favorite sports. He talked about Sugar Ray Leonard. He went just straight into Sugar Ray Leonard, and he talked about how, he watched Sugar Ray Leonard in the Olympics in '76, and he brought up Leo Randolph and Howard Davis Jr. and the Spinks brothers. Just brought up all these other fighters that were good amateur boxers. And also in the '84, because I don't think there was an '80 Olympics. I'm not too sure. I think America withdrew from that one. I'm not too sure. I got to do research on that. But if you look at the '84, another really good Olympic team, and you had Evander Holyfield, Pernell Whitaker, Mark Breland, Meldrick Taylor, four decorated amateur fighters that just had something special and unique about them. In '92, you had Oscar De La Hoya. In '96, you had Fernando Vargas. 2000, you had Jermaine Taylor. So forth and so on. Just amateurs that people have watched, over the years. But since the '80s, we haven't really had much of a really highly decorated amateur, come into the professional ranks and just pretty much change the scene. The same way that some of these fighters have. You've had a Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather has pretty much changed the scene. But, Vladimir Klitschko, another amateur boxer, I believe in the '96 Olympics. But you've had, a lot of, I guess disappointments from 2000 all the way to '08, all the way to right now. You've had just a lot of disappointments coming to the boxing scene from 2002 to 2008, even though that they're the fighters from 2008, we can't really judge yet. But something that I've seen, right now, and it's been 3 years since the 2008 Olympics, but something I personally seen is that a lot of the amateurs, aren't really. Oh yeah, and the fighter I did forget to mention was Andre Ward and Andre Burrow, and they both were in the 2004 Olympics. And Angulo was in the 2004 Olympics, but anyway, it's besides the point. But a lot of the fighters that are coming up now from the amateur ranks, I don't know if anybody has noticed this or not, but a lot of fighters that are coming up from the amateur ranks right now are, I guess, still kind of fighting amateurish, are still, fighting like prospects. Like, personally, I don't even like, and this is just me being honest, I don't even like watching some prospect fights because, a lot of the prospective fights, you have prospects either trying to get rounds or they're not trying to, but they continuously fight like amateurs. They throw like a billion punches, just like in amateurs where you get credit for the shots that connect, and some of them just lack maturity as fighters. And also a lot of the amateurs coming up, a lot of the prospects now are, pretty much have these father-son relationship type, deals, to where they're not, the father wasn't really a boxing trainer, but, he makes his son work hard, this, that, and the other. and instead of having somebody else train their son. There's a real lack of great boxing trainers now, I believe. New boxing trainers now, compared to back in the '70s, just with the prospects, because I think that's one problem with a lot of prospects is that prospects, and a lot of people may disagree with me, but a lot of prospects are in these father-son um, relationships, and with the father-son relationships, I just don't think that if you have a father that pretty much has a son in the sport, either they want their son to be perfectionist at the sport, but also the son more than likely might not be able to learn anything else under the father, because the father could give the son so much knowledge, compared to maybe one of the great trainers like a Emmanuel Stewart or a Freddie Roach can do. But there is some pretty good father-son relationships in the sport. I thought the Mosleys had an alright relationship. I thought another current one. I like Sean Porter, his father. I think his name's like Kenny Porter. They have a pretty good father-son relationship in the sport, to where I could tell that Kenny Porter and I could say this with Kenny Porter. Kenny Porter trains other fighters. He's trained Kelly Pavlik before. He's trained other fighters that were in the Olympics. So I think the father-son relationships in boxing, I think they do dissolve when the fathers go and they train other fighters. That's just my opinion. But when they go and they train other fighters, they get they're I guess they're used to they become adapted and well adjusted to other styles in the sport, and I guess it makes it I think it can make their sons fight better. That's just my opinion. Um, but also something that boxing is lacking is rivalries, grudge matches. Grudge matches is something that boxing is lacking at the moment. Um, Great trilogies, something that we may not see right now. Just at this moment, we've had some good trilogies back in the thousands with Marco Antonio Barrera versus Eric Morales. We had Mickey Ward versus Arturo Gatti. We had Israel Vasquez versus Rafael Marquez, the quadrilogy. We had these matchups. We had trilogy between Evander Holyfield and John Ruiz in the heavyweight division. You know, we've had these matchups, but right now boxing's lacking like an intense rivalry that's just going to bring the fans back into the sport, or bring fans back into another fight. And sometimes these rivalries can give other fighters a lot of exposure. The fighters that are placed on the undercards, a lot of exposure. Something else that is not so intriguing about boxing is the chance of upset. Um, the chance of upset within the networks. The networks aren't showing the big upsets. Um, a lot of fighters just aren't being tested right now, because sometimes the HBOs and sometimes the ESPNs don't want to show fight. I mean, like the ESPNs and the HBO, are protecting the fighters from time to time, and they get into these easy matchups to where they're trying to set up another matchup, so they take on an easy opponent and move along just from fighting the easy opponent. Um, the chance of upset is something that does turn a lot of people off of the sport, and that's just me being honest. Um, like if you look at the thing is, like, sometimes some of these bigger fighters have to give these other guys a chance, but also money does play a factor in that. So that's something that I guess is understandable, but sometimes a lot of these fighters aren't taking risk, and when you don't take risk, it can, and you're fighting and you're cherry picking fighters, it kind of makes some of these fights just very, I guess, not too tolerable to watch. And that's just me saying that in a nice way. But that's just those are just things boxing's missing right now. If you look back in the '80s, man, which a lot of people are referring to as a great time in boxing. I came up in the '90s and thousands, and if you look at the '80s, a lot of the older fighters have taken a lot of risk. Um, I think personally, Thomas Hearns, who didn't really have to fight everybody, he pretty much made an attempt to fight everybody, in the '80s, and he came up short, against a lot of these fighters in the '80s. Against Iran Barkley, one of my favorite fights to watch. I love that first matchup between Thomas Hearns and Iran Barkley, maybe because of the story behind it. If Hearns never fought Barkley, I really wonder where Barkley would be ranked right now. Among some of the good heavyweights, if he would have gotten other opportunities if Hearns never fought in the '80s. Another decent fighter that got an opportunity from Hearns was Heath Schuler. Even though Heath Schuler was knocked out in one round, he was another decent fighter. Was undefeated until he stepped up against world-class opposition. And I can't really name a fighter that's given some of these fighters opportunities right now. Some of these guys that some may be considered journeymen or lower level guys, just not giving these guys opportunities, and that's some things boxing's lacking right now. I mean, this is just coming from my perspective, and I know a lot of people are gonna say, "Man, Julian, you look like a real idiot in this video," and I may, but that's just something from my point of view. Just I guess from this narrow-minded point of view, going into straight tunnel vision. I don't know, but let me know what you guys think. But anyway, just hit me up. Hit me up on Facebook here, Twitter. The name's Julian W. the Great. Been on there. Have no followers anyway. But anyway, guys, I'm out of here. Julian Williams here at the distance. I'm gone. Peace. Man, this video is so boring.